Okay, here's the other mock-up that I've got. So there's another tensioner. It's just sitting loosely here between the cams. No matter what you do, you need this tensioner tool. They're about 20 bucks. It's part number 3366, which you probably can't see there, but it's right in the plastic. And here's the tensioner solenoid that I mentioned. Again, that's an easy swap. If that's your problem, you can do it right on the car if it's an electrical issue. And just imagine that this chain is actually over the camshaft here. I didn't spend a whole lot of time putting this in. It's just in here loose. So I mentioned before, depending on the engine you have, the location of each of the tensioners. So again, driver side's in the front, passenger side is in the rear, and that's pretty easy to see. Just look for that solenoid and you'll see it. If you need to replace the one on the front, again, this is a 40 valve. I'm almost certain the V6 is the same. The timing belt is on the sprocket, which would be here. So you basically have to lock everything just like you would be if you did a timing belt job. And once you do that, the basic procedure is to loosen. Now you might be able to do this with one, and I'll explain that in a minute. So the camshafts are bolted down. Let's see if I have a cam. Well, I don't. I took them off, but let me zoom out here a little bit if I can. No, that's it. All right. So here's one camshaft. Here's the other. And there's cam caps that are here. You can see each of those shiny spots are where a cam cap held the cam down. There's the back of the engine. And so basically what you need to do is take the tension off the tensioner with the tool. That'll give you some slack on the chain. And then look in the Bentley, and there's a procedure to remove the cam caps. And once you do that, now I'm simplifying it, it's a little bit of work, but it's a little scary, but as long as you have everything locked and in place, you're okay. Then once the cams are in a position where they can be moved, then definitely get some help. But basically what you do is you need to lift this up and out and get the whole thing out and in your hand like that. Now, that's a little quicker than it'll actually come out, but with an extra set of hands it's not too bad. So there's the tensioner, and you do it with a little more finesse than I just did it. You don't want to be banging those cams around. And then basically just tension the new one and then reinstall it, and then there's a sequence to tighten down all the cam caps to get you back in you know, the same torque settings that came from the factory. They're, I don't remember the number, but it's low. They're all a low torque setting, and there are 3 or 4 bolts here on the tensioner, and then that's how you remove that. And one other thing is, if you've got leaks, pretty consistent oil leaks, the half moon gasket that comes with those valve cover kits, one goes here and one goes on the other side of the engine, on the passenger side. There is a way to tension this, loosen the cams, and just lift this up. If that's all you want to do is change the gasket that's under this, there's a metal gasket that goes here and that half moon. You don't have to completely remove it. There is a way to lift it up and kind of pick it out. It's a little bit of work, but it's a lot less work than removing the whole tensioner. So definitely change those. Those half moon gaskets leak like crazy. So if you keep changing valve covers thinking that's where your leak is, check that half moon gasket and the gasket under here, because if this tensioner hasn't been out, they've probably never been changed before. Okay, so that's the procedure on the driver's side. On the passenger side, because the timing belt is in the front, you have a little more flexibility here. And so what I did recently was pretend this is the passenger side, so the tensioner would be here, is I use my crank plug to lock the crank, and then I used a couple of C-clamps to clamp the timing belt to the sprocket, which is up on this end. Again, pretend this is the passenger side. And then by doing that, I think I was able to just, maybe I loosened both, but you might be able to get away with just loosening one cam If not, loosen the other one. And so this one's a little easier. It's harder to get to, but it's a little less work, because you'll have enough room to lift, pretend this isn't here, to lift the cams up and work that tensioner out. So you don't have to go through quite as much work locking the cams with the cam bar. You know, again, it's just because the tension is on the other end. So this one is a little easier in a way, a little harder to get to, but a little less work. And that's pretty much it. So any questions, post them here and I'll reply back. But hopefully that gives you kind of a general idea what's involved in changing out an Audi cam tensioner. All right, talk to you soon.